to Real Life. I'm Sarah Bernard, and this show is all about buying, selling, and owning real estate, one of my favorite topics. I'm a realtor myself and also a TV host, and I love the idea of home and what that means to all of us. But behind the emotional part of that word is a business, and most of us will be involved in it one way or another. I created this show so we could help you learn the ins and outs of buying and selling homes, financing them, staging them, and other great topics around the subject of real estate. Stay tuned for our latest episode of Real Life with Sarah Bernard.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
I'm back with Andrea Lenzen, my favorite co-host. And Andrea, you're always so great about giving our audience tips for when they're going to sell their house. And one of the things that most people are going to have a professional photographer come in to shoot photos of the house that are going to be online that people will see before they even see the house. So how does a seller get ready for the photographer?
First of all, make sure you do have a professional photographer taking the pictures.
As opposed to
your agent or
your realtor
or your friend
son,
or your daughter. Right,
yeah.
Just get a professional
Yeah.
because it's critical. Online is where they're going to do the shopping.
Yeah.
So we'll sit down and we'll talk with them. And a lot of the things that you need to do, what people don't think about, is your light bulbs. Your light bulbs need to be the same wattage in the same room, because you'll notice that sometimes there'll be a blue cast or a yellow cast. That really can mess it up. So you want to make sure you have the same lighting throughout. We'd like to say warm, because when you're showing a home, it looks better, and the photographer can adjust that.
So, and there's so many light bulbs these days.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard to shop for them. So
totally.
just go, you need to go room by room, turn on the lights, see what's there, make sure, especially in bathrooms where you have maybe three lights
That's
over the
where they
mirror.
mostly are
Right.
changed. Because you run out, so you put in what you have. Oh, and if you have those squiggly energy efficient ones, throw them away. They're horrible.
Well, just like don't throw them away forever.
Well, forever, but I
just
mean
for the photos
because it takes a while to warm up, and it just don't.
I mean, they have their benefits.
They have their benefits.
We are concerned about the environment, but not when your pictures are being taken.
Exactly.
Right.
That's most important. Absolutely.
Okay, so no squiggly light bulbs for photos. They all have to be the same cast, color, size, wattage. Okay, so that's tip number one. What else?
First of all, make sure that all your countertops are cleared off. You don't want to have any personal products out there. You don't want to have any personal photos out there. Also, another thing you want to do is make sure your trash cans aren't exposed and sitting out, especially in the kitchen or in the bathrooms that we talked about. Also, toss rugs. Area rugs are fine, but if you have a rug like at the front door, if you have a rug like under the kitchen sink, or by the back door, pull it, because you know what? It chops up a room, makes it look smaller, especially in the bathrooms. You don't want to have that at all. And also you want to take down anything that's on the refrigerator, on the top, on the sides of that too. Also make sure that no personal names are out. If you have like diplomas, certificates, awards with your names on it, want to make sure that's gone. If you have pets in the home.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. Make sure.
Most people have pets, honestly, like
9 times out
75%
of 10.
of households,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that their bedding's not in the pictures and their bowls aren't in the picture, their toys. Just kind of remove that for the photos.
So look at your room like a buyer might, or like a photographer might, and you want to see the room, the space, you want to see the beautiful cabinets and countertops. So what you're saying is get rid of anything that takes your eye away.
Exactly.
Area rugs that are small in the bathroom, and we don't think about that because we need them, we like them there, but just roll them up, put them away just for the photos. You can bring them back after. The trash cans make it look you think dirt. You think trash, and we don't want people to think that.
You don't want dishes in the sink, definitely.
Right.
And you want to use white bath and hand towels throughout also, because they photograph so much better.
Okay, so white towels. So just go get some just for, for the photos, and then you can bring your colorful ones back later.
Exactly. If you have an alarm clock next to the bed, you just, set it down on the floor, take the pictures, put it back. So you want your home to look like a display. So when you're walking through the home, you'll say, would I see this in a display model?
Ooh,
and if you
okay.
just think about, no, I probably wouldn't, then your answer
And
is
maybe
straight
even go
down.
look at some display homes,
That
right?
would
So that might
definitely
be a
help
good
you
thing to
out.
do, just
You've
to
got to get an idea.
see how homes are displayed, because those are being done by professionals.
Absolutely.
So you can take tips from those homes as well.
Absolutely. You don't want to have your cars, in the driveway, or your outdoor trash cans sitting out when they're coming
Right.
to take the photo.
Exactly.
You don't want your ceiling fan running. That's also kind of, you don't want the TV on or the remote sitting
Yeah,
out.
and we need to wrap. We could talk about this all day. But
forever.
I just want to say, too, look at other photographs. Look online and see what other people, see what works, what doesn't work, because that's what you want to be emulating. So
Absolutely.
Or not. So okay.
Absolutely.
All right, I've got one more question.
Okay.
Magnets on refrigerators. Should they take them off?
Absolutely. Because you notice they've got calendars and kids' pictures or grandkids' pictures. They have them all over. Absolutely.
Yeah,
take the
it's something
magnets
that
off.
everyone has.
Everybody
Okay.
I don't think I've been in a home that doesn't have them.
All right.
So
There you
far.
go.
And everything off the top of the refrigerator, but the magnets have got to go.
All right, very good. Thank you, Andrea. Real estate can be a lot of work, but also a lot of fun. Coming up next is someone who will make looking for a home sound like as much fun as it really can be. Don't go away.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
One of my very favorite people is here to talk about how to choose your next home. Jill Butler is the owner of a brokerage in St. Louis, Missouri, Red Key Realty Leaders, and is great at helping people figure out what they really want. And Andrea is going to join here in the conversation because you're in this world too of
Absolutely.
seeing people buying and selling and all that kind of stuff. So Jill, when people start out looking for a home, and throughout all of the episodes of this show, we've talked about all the different ways to do that. You're looking at location, you're having to figure out the money, all of that. But at the deep emotional part of it is you're looking for something specific to meet your family needs or your own needs.
That's right.
So how do you start that process of figuring out what you want?
So I think real estate is such an interesting investment, and it's kind of emotional, and it's also mental as far as like, it's a way to build wealth. So we really, people always have a dream to buy a house, but it's also like the realtor can help you figure out, is this a good area? Is it hopefully going to appreciate? What problems do I want to avoid? What's important on kind of the financial, mental, analytical side? But for the buyer, it's also very emotional because it's where they, celebrate birthdays and where they, have family and friends and milestones, and it can really impact your sense of security and community. So I think each buyer has to think about what's important to them. So that I always encourage, start with, we'll do sort of a needs analysis of what's important to you. Is it school district? Is it type of home? Is it location? Is it age of home? Many different factors. But then we also want to get to, beyond that checklist, what's kind of the deeper thing that's making you want to purchase a home.
So, and a lot of people say when they walk into the home, they feel it. Have you felt that before?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yes, and I
Definitely.
have too. So how real is that in your experience working with buyers?
I would say, and this is sort of to sellers, but don't underestimate the emotional impact that you want to create in your home. So I have had this many times where it could be a great deal. It could be the best cost per square foot in a neighborhood, and you show it to your buyer and you think, okay, this is what they say they want to get a great deal.
Right.
And you show it to them and they're not feeling it. And you have to
Yeah.
think that they have to write the mortgage check every month. So will they be happy? Will they feel happy about writing that check every month? So a lot of it is, does it hit those emotional needs? So I do think for most buyers, they want it to work out on paper, but they need to feel connected
So
to
that's
the house.
real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Do you see that there are certain rooms that bring more emotions than other rooms? I mean, are they really focused into the kitchen or the master bedroom, or is there certain areas?
Question.
Yeah, I think for most it's going to be sort of kitchen, hearth room, and again, so if you've shown a lot of houses, I usually ask the question, could you see yourself having Thanksgiving here with the family?
Oh, that's great. I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
then all of a
great.
sudden they start thinking and it's going to be a yes or no. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
want my family to be here, or, it's a great deal, but I'm just not in love with it.
And my home that I'm in now, that's exactly,
Yeah.
it was, I could imagine holidays there with
Yeah.
everyone coming, the extended family, the kids, everyone. That's exactly, you're so right there. So when people have their list of 10 things, they've got to have the 3-car garage, the 2 full baths, the finished lower level, the screened-in porch, the acre.
The
Like,
swimming pool.
everything. Right.
The swimming
At a great
pool.
price.
Yeah, the
Right.
swimming pool.
Yeah.
And they keep looking for that.
Yes.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
So a couple things. First, especially for first-time buyers, I think there's a little bit of a shock. Like you watch HGTV and everything's beautiful, and then they get their first house and they're like, what? It's not the way I saw it on TV. So I encourage them, your first house isn't your last house. So you want to get into the game. You want to start to build equity and, just keep that in mind. You may not get everything on your first house. But I also think, I recently talked to some buyers and they're moving from a small town, they're retired, and they want to be closer to their kids, their adult kids. So they had their big list, and I think there's a little sticker shock coming to St. Louis from a smaller town. But just that, newer construction and ranch, maybe an atrium ranch, enough land, but super close to everything, et cetera, et cetera. And they could find it, but it was not the right location.
Yeah.
And they went back and forth, like, here's their dream house, and it had the emotional impact. But we sat down and talked about, okay, let's wave a magic wand. It's a year from now, and you're living there. What's that like? What are you feeling? And the number one thing that came up was they were really moving to be close to family.
Yeah.
And even if they had this beautiful house, if it was 45 minutes away and people weren't stopping by to have coffee, they felt like they would not have achieved the goal of why they're moving.
And it's so funny, Joe, because I remember when I got into real estate way back when, it was always location, location, location. Sounds like it hasn't changed.
I think that's very true. It's like, you can change a lot of things in the interior, exterior of the home,
Right.
but where it's located, you can't change that.
Yeah. So in addition to that, the checklist, right? The big kitchen, the island, the big master bath, whatever. And in that home, they keep looking and they're not finding all those things. How do you help buyers prioritize, or how would you advise a buyer to prioritize their list?
And I don't know why, but I do always I think about the future a bit. So I would just say, it's a year from now. And kind of the emotional feeling has passed. So we're in the frenzy right now. And then what's really important, and I also think this is where an agent or someone can help them. Sometimes I think people love the interior of a home, but we can help them recreate that in another home. So sometimes it's helping them step back, and the thing right in front of them may not hit every box, but if it's the location they want and has the floor plan and some of the amenities, we can help them create the design as far as like interior.
Yeah.
Have a good team that can get you there.
That could change. That's perfect. So thank you so much, Jill. That's a great way to wrap, and we appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you for joining us today. Up next, we've got a young couple joining us that you'll definitely want to meet. Stay tuned to hear about their real-life real estate experience.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
What's it like these days to sell a house? To some, it sounds overwhelming and stressful, but to get the real scoop, let's talk to a couple who has actually been through it recently themselves. Beth and James Versman, welcome to Real Life. We're so glad you can join us, and we're here also with Karen Kelly, who is a realtor who also works with sellers to get them through that process. So, okay, so we've been talking throughout all of our Real Life episodes about sellers getting their houses ready and all the things you have to do to get rid of stuff and all of that. So what was that like for you guys?
Well, I was told very promptly upon our realtor entering our house that I needed to downsize my plant collection from 64 to none. So that was a challenge. Shout out to U-Haul.
So yeah, what did you do with 64 plants? Did you save them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And God love our in-laws. They've dedicated a few rooms to the plants, and they're still alive and kicking. So.
Oh my gosh,
But
64 plants.
it was a challenge.
Yeah, so they would, and we talked about in one of our episodes with Andrea Lunzen, who's our stylist on the show, how plants can look in photographs like clutter. They're not, they're living things, but that's hard. So what was it like when he said that to you?
I expected it because,
Okay.
so we are minimalists. So the plants were very strategically and appropriately placed.
Okay.
But I knew that, not the average person isn't going to want to see that in their potential living space.
Yeah.
So I had come to terms with that. We'd actually started, I think we'd removed about half of them before he got there. But it was fun. I knew that we had to, cater to the general public, so I was prepared for that.
So you're newlyweds, and this was the place you started the process of becoming one. What was that like to have to think about packing up and moving on from it?
Let's let James answer this.
I think we're going to have two separate answers on this.
That's okay.
But for me, the whole process was actually very easy and not necessarily stress-free, but low stress. It was the realtor came in and said, "Hey, you guys, has this already been staged? Our house has always been well put together." So we're very, very fortunate on that we're both on the same page in that,
Yeah.
I guess, mindset. So for me, it really was a good situation overall, and it's exciting because we're moving to our new house, which is our forever home.
Yeah.
So we're both very, very
So
excited
the
about
home,
that.
and this had been your home before you guys were married.
Correct.
So, and now you're excited because you're moving into a home with Beth that you're going to choose together.
Correct,
I
yes.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And you guys are like the ideal sellers where the only thing you had to worry about was the plants. So what was your experience, Beth?
So in that house, one of our first dates, actually, he was building it. So he brought me out to see it, and it was just studs that we walked through. And so kind of imagining not only this new person in my life, but like building, kind of making it ours together, like that was 3 dates into a relationship, a little overwhelming. But I mean, throughout the last, 3-4 years, we made that space our own. And so we had our first Thanksgiving and our first Christmas, and our families met in that space. And I came in with a dog from my last house, and he had a dog. It's like we made that space was like kind of the foundation of our relationship. So leaving it for me was emotional. But
You connected with it.
We really
it
did.
meant a lot to you. And
Yeah.
that's typical that we
Yes.
find of sellers. It's bittersweet. They're excited about moving to the next home, but yet they're leaving behind all the memories that they started there.
And
Yeah.
it's
And let's talk about the market and how fast things are going. Were you prepared for the swiftness which yours was sold?
And how quickly was that?
One day is what
Oh,
it sold
okay,
in.
that's
So
swift.
the day it went on the market, it sold. And we had some friends a lot of our friends are moving right now. So we kind of were expecting it to go quick, and we both looked at each other and said, our house is so well put together. If some of our friends' house are selling, ours is going to sell pretty quick too. So we were
Hopefully
expecting
your friends
it.
aren't listening right now. But go.
No, but we kind of expected it, but then when it happens, you're never really prepared for it.
Right.
Now it's scramble mode,
Right.
and
Because then a lot of stuff happens.
Right.
The home inspection process, and how was that? Probably not too bad in a newer build home.
it was
Probably
interesting.
yeah, the home was 3 years old, so the hot water was too hot. That was one of the things. But really, overall, I think we had a radon. We needed to put in a system. Other than that, it was very easy and straightforward, I thought.
It was easy.
Yeah, and how did it, so only one day in the market, you didn't have like days and days of people coming through, but there was 1 or 2 days of that. And
Right.
how did that feel to know you guys are away with the dogs and the plants?
Yeah, you're right.
And there's strangers walking through your home.
I think we'd come to terms with it. I think we were excited. We were pretty close with our neighbors, so we'd always have them kind of peeking and on the lookout and, okay, did they walk out excited? What was the vibe?
yeah.
Oh, good.
They would give us a full 411
I mean,
afterwards.
that's what buyers need to be aware of that. People have cameras or they park across a street. The sellers often do that and they watch that, or if they don't have the neighbors on patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We enlisted our neighbors for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you guys, I understand, then had to transition into a temporary home living with
My parents, yes.
your parents.
My parents,
Newlyweds.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, living with the in-laws. How was
Testing the whole relationship. 6 months in.
that? Are you doing that right now? Is that where
Yes.
we're okay? Okay, going well.
I'll let her answer that one.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
We are in, I'm not trying to brag, but we are in the ideal situation. His mom loves to have flowers everywhere, and I don't have my gardening outlet because I don't have my house to just, dig out the landscaping. So she's given me full reign of all of the potted plants, and we have a pool out back, and we have kind of our own section of the house, our own living space. So it is literally the ideal situation. And we cohabitate with them very well. So it's been perfect, knock on wood.
Oh my gosh, that is a great way to wrap. I love that. It's perfect with the in-laws. Love it, and she's going to hate to see you leave because you're taking care of the garden.
I'll come back.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much, James and Beth, for joining us today. So glad you could be here. And we love hearing from real people who have been through the process of selling their homes and love to give us great tips to help you with your real estate process. Next up, we're going on location into a real home that Andrea's going to get ready to sell. You won't want to miss it.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Okay, so welcome back. We're here again with Andrea Lenzen of Design to Sell, and we are in a master bedroom suite, and very typical bedroom as people live, but we're going to talk about how to transform this room into a home that's going on the market and what buyers are going to be looking at and looking for. So Andrea, take it from here. What do you see?
Okay.
What would you change?
Well, the first thing that I would possibly change would be the bedding.
Okay.
I think if you go a little bit more neutral, possibly white, and then you want to have the shams to match, and then I would bring in some colorful toss pillows to kind of accent it.
Okay, so change out all the bedding.
Change out
Go
all the
neutral.
bedding, right.
Yeah, okay.
Here on the nightstands, what I would do is remove everything off the nightstands, and I would get different lamps for this, because just to kind of balance the look. Also, I would take down all these little pictures. You don't really need anything over this headboard because the headboard is good enough, so I think you'd be fine with that. If we move over here, I would definitely take out the live plant. We don't need, and you really don't need anything on here at all.
Right, and we've been talking about live plants a lot, so
Yeah.
people love them,
They
but
love
they
them.
don't work in a home that's going on the market.
Exactly.
Okay.
This area here, obviously, we would have to remove.
This is Pet Central. And we have a pet, a real pet that needs to be removed too.
Really wanted to help us out. So, yeah. So anyway, all this would need to be, cleared out. The TV's okay, but just make sure that all the wires, are hidden, type of thing. Then when I would move over here, I would just move this piece out. It doesn't really serve a purpose at all. You kind of just want to open this space up even more so. And then of course removing the cat scratch.
Of course. And it looks like we've got a repair going on over here. So we see this a lot in homes. People will start a repair and maybe not quite get it finished because they're not in a rush to do that. So that probably just needs to be painted to match the rest of the wall.
And what's actually really good here is they don't have any drapes up or any valances. So you can see how the windows are so open and bright. So that's really a good thing here too.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so let's go over, we've got a fireplace and a little sitting area over here. So what about the fireplace mantle?
Well, the fireplace mantle, there's just way too much stuff on the fireplace mantle.
Do we need anything at all?
You know, you just need one piece of artwork, and then again pull away the blankets, everything else. You know, it would be nicer if they could have a little bigger, like love seat, be here, and then of course we would remove the little stand that's holding all the extra clothes and the ironing board and
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So we've pretty much covered this room. It's a lot of just getting rid of stuff. So let's go on into the master bath
Great
and take a
idea.
look there.
Great
okay.
idea.
Okay, so here we are in the bathroom to the master suite, and we've got the same carpeting. A little unusual to have carpeting in a bathroom. Not your favorite thing.
No, not my favorite thing.
Okay, so that might be one thing you would mention, and then also the robes. Oh, and they're falling. So that's a problem. Okay, so what else, Andrea, would you recommend?
Live plants.
Okay.
We have to remove all the live plants here, get all the burnt out candles. See these little tossed rugs, we want to remove that.
Yep.
Always want to use white towels. They just photograph so much better, it's a cleaner look. So you want to make sure all of that is cleared off. In this area here, we want to clear everything off.
Yeah, and you know, really nice countertops, really
Very
nice cabinets.
It's a raised one.
Yeah,
It's
so
nice.
this is nice. I mean, this would definitely appeal to buyers.
Right.
We just need to declutter.
Declutter, and then get yourself like a nice artificial orchid or something to put, you know, in the center
Right.
here. Or a little mirrored tray, you know, with a couple of little bottles on, but all the personal products you want to.
So everything off the counters.
Everything off the counter.
Okay, and we've got some extra stuff underneath,
You want to remove all of that.
a bench and
If you had
some.
another cute little chair that you could sit
Yeah, like a
under here.
vanity.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be really cute.
Okay,
Definitely.
good. So all of that, and that's none of that's hard. That's
No,
easy.
it's
Most
not.
people, I mean, just removing some stuff, bringing in some fresh towels and a couple accessories, and we're good to go. All right, so that's another wrap of Real Life with Sarah Bernard and Andrea Lenzen, and just some great tips. And thank you so much, Andrea,
it's
and
my
thank
pleasure,
you for
always.
joining us
Yes.
today. Keep coming back.